Hello, everyone. This is Chris Hinds, Denver City Council, District 10. I am checking to see if this is actually live. We'll find out in a second. Or you will tell us, or you won't, because I won't be broadcasting live anyway. I am live streaming from the City Council bunker, which is actually just my bedroom. We don't. City Council, doesn't get any preferential treatment. It's not like we get access to, I don't know, coronavirus tests in advance or anything like that, or some special operations center, or frankly anything. So we're just hunkering down. We're staying at home as per the executive order from the governor and from the mayor, and we're trying to keep track of all the concerns that you have as residents in District 10 or beyond. I'm actually not sure who all watches this. Hopefully more than just me. Anyway, so in our special COVID-19 edition of live streams from the bunker, I thought I would, I want to talk about an update from the mayor and the city about, where COVID is. I want to talk about the $2 trillion package that was approved by our federal elected officials, and I also want to talk about the city budget. So I'm not super, I don't have a lot of influence on the federal budget, but it's kind of hard not to talk about the city budget without talking about the federal budget, because $2 trillion hopefully will go a long way to helping us stay productive as a city. So, and my team keeps texting me, so I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, okay. So let's talk about what's going on with COVID-19. So we have here an email from Evan Dreyer, the Deputy Chief of Staff in the Mayor's office. The stay-at-home order enforcement is in full swing. So yesterday, Denver issued orders to close more than a dozen non-critical businesses. So if you were a business and you thought you weren't critical, or rather thought you were critical, and it turns out you're not, well, looks like the city is checking into that. So that's probably good news. Frankly, I think it is important for us to all take this very seriously and actually stay at home. My immune system is compromised, and I would probably not do well if I got sick. But as you may have known, the country of Iceland, they did a lot of testing of their people, and they found out that about half the people who were infected had no symptoms at all. So it is entirely possible to spread the fun, or in this case, not fun, and not even know that you have it. So for all of those who are staying at home, sheltering in place, thank you. Okay, so we're up to 22 states now as of about 10 o'clock this morning that have issued stay-at-home orders. So, it's not just, some governors going rogue. This is an actual thing. And countries have issued stay-at-home orders. The country of India, the country of New Zealand. There are, lots of countries from small to large. India has 1.2 billion people. And so this is it is a world pandemic. It's not just some U.S. elected officials going bonkers. This is an actual thing. So there are more than 81,000 cases nationwide, and Go America, we now lead the world in cases. So we have more cases than Italy and China. Of course, I'm talking about coronavirus, not the China virus or Wuhan virus or whatever. So, as you may have heard, we've got a lot of heads of state that are now, some heads of state that are now identifying that they have tested positive. I think the first was the head of state of Morocco. I think he's a king. But Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister in England, has stated that he has coronavirus, and the British Health Minister does as well. There are more than 1,400 positive cases statewide. Don't do what I just did. Actually, that's touching my hair, not my face, but don't touch your face. At least that's the best practice. Let's see. So, of our counties, 39 counties have positive cases, which is the majority of cases. In Denver, 291 people have positive cases. 184 of them have been hospitalized, and I think that 184 is statewide. Of the number of people who've been tested are 10,122, which I guess that includes the mayor, and there have been 27 deaths statewide, including 3 in Denver. Just so you know, Denver is moving forward with spending money and resources to fight COVID-19. We have spent $5.9 million as of 10 o'clock this morning on equipment, supplies, and facilities. It's not talking about labor, it's not talking about people or hiring people or whatever, that's just stuff. And so equipment, supplies, and facilities. Considering we just started tracking this, I think 2 weeks ago, we're really moving forward. We're trying to be as proactive and productive as we can. The jail population, we're trying to preserve our jail system as a COVID-free zone. We're also trying to follow state and federal guidelines to minimize our inmate population so that because frankly, it's really hard for them to distance themselves 6 feet from their neighbor in the prison system, and the prison system just isn't set up for that. So we are looking at how we can minimize the amount of people who are in our jails. And so it is at 13:38 again as of 10 o'clock this morning. As of 10 o'clock, it says the House will take up the $2 trillion stimulus package. Well, as of about 1:40, they've already passed it. So thanks for your careful consideration, Congress, of the $2 trillion. And I guess that's kind of a joke, but I mean, obviously we really need assistance. I wonder how quickly or how responsibly that $2 trillion has been debated and allocated. But I don't know. We could. There is the idea of analysis paralysis too, where we could spend the next 13 years talking about exactly where the $2 trillion should go, and then we'd all be dead. So that's probably not good either. We are also, so that's the update from the mayor. The $2 trillion package, as I mentioned, it has been approved by Congress, and there's a little bit of drama because one Republican considered blocking the vote. And I don't remember the fellow's name, but apparently Donald Trump is making sure that everyone knows who the potential blocker was because he's a Republican. So I'm trying to keep up with that as best I can. Really, it's hard for me to keep up with all the stuff that's happening at the state and local level, and I'm a local yokel, so it's more important for me to make sure that I am up to date as best I can be with city stuff, and we do. This is a very turbulent, rapidly evolving situation. So the next thing I want to talk about is the city budget, because we've gotten a lot of requests from people. And it's understandable. Basically, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, COVID was a thing. But we had an entire different list of priorities 2 weeks ago than we do now, and that's created, government's not the fastest, unless it's a $2 trillion stimulus package. But government is generally slower because we're spending our money, your money, my money, and we want to make sure that we're engaging people to make sure that the money is spent in an appropriate way and in a way that makes sense for us. And so, I have 70,000 constituents, and talking with at least a representative sample of that 70,000 takes a little bit of time. And so we want to make sure that we're meaningful and we engage people as we make decisions that involve our money. So, but in the past 2 weeks, we've gone from COVID being a thing to COVID being the thing, and no one else really, or no other priority really is we're putting everything else in the back burner effectively, and that creates some growing pain. In addition to growing pain that creates, in addition to the growing pain of a change in priorities, we're now working remotely, and while we utilize technology before as a council office, we're having some technology growing pains too, because we just didn't really think about making sure that all the technology was set up before we started working from home. So I'm very glad that 2 weeks ago we made the decision to start working remotely, because we want to exercise proper social distancing, but that definitely that slowed us down a little bit, because as we're trying to have meetings amongst ourselves or meetings with other council offices or various city entities, we're kind of bumbling through what technology makes the most sense to use, and sometimes computers crash and stuff like that. So we're working through that too, and we've got some illness that has been working its way through the District 10 office too. So Denver's perfect 10 is we're in the real world, we're not in Narnia, and so we are not exactly perfect. So but that's what happens when you live in the real world. So, in addition to the crazy priority changes, there are a lot of notifications on my computer, and I don't know why. In addition to the changing priorities, we and now working remotely, and we're not used to being able to, or we're not used to that sort of communication method and the technology. We also have to make sure that we have a balanced budget. So the federal government, they can pass a $2 trillion stimulus package because the federal government doesn't have to balance its budget. It can borrow money or print money or whatever federal governments do. I don't want to pretend that I am a subject matter expert on Congress or the presidency or whatever. So. But the state government and the city of Denver both have to balance their budget. So we can't, when revenue goes down, we can't just start printing more money to make up the difference. So that has created some really interesting challenges with us in the city of Denver, because we are about half of our budget in the city of Denver is sales tax and lodgers tax. So basically that's people who buy things in the city of Denver and people who stay at hotels in the city of Denver. Well, as you may have noticed, if you're going out, which you shouldn't unless you're exercising using a strong social distance, or if you're going out for essentials, then you've probably noticed that a lot of businesses are closed and a lot of restaurants are closed. Although, plug for them, if you go to togodenver.com, that will Is it togodenver.com? Wrong. Not tododenver.com. Sorry, I just want to make sure that I'm giving you the right information. Yes, okay, togodenver.com. If you go there, then that is a website put together by Visit Denver, and in conjunction with the Colorado Restaurant Association and Denver area restaurants. And so a lot of restaurants, because they cannot have dine-in anymore because of our executive orders, they are preparing food to go. So I encourage you to support our local businesses, and if you want to know which one is near you and fits your hankering, go to togodenver.com to find something that works for you. But anyway, so our revenue is about half created by sales and lodger's tax. Well, that suddenly has cratered. We're not getting as many sales and lodger's tax as we once did, and so this, man, I gotta find a better analogy. I was gonna say it's like balancing your checkbook, which all you millennials and Gen Zers know about, right? The checkbook. But basically, you look at your bank account, and it's pretty easy to recognize that when expenses are greater than income, that's bad, and that's kind of what we're wrestling with in the city, because our income is going way down, and at the same time, the city of Denver is trying to ramp up to pay for things like COVID-19 response, but also to pay for helping out workers, helping out small businesses, helping with unemployment. We also just yesterday changed our property tax requirements. So I believe that we've waived late fees for property taxes. See, this is part of the challenge, is that there's so much happening. I don't know the exact details, so I'm afraid to mention it to you, and then you take it as fact, and then you go back to this live stream and you say, see, that Chris Hinds said we totally could, go to the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow and just pay for our taxes that way. So, I have to get back to you about that. Maybe I can post the link to the article in the comments. As far as I know, no one has left any comments yet. I don't see anything. So I think I'm clear. But anyway, so it's really, the income and expenses for the city is really becoming more and more difficult for us to figure out, because a lot of you have reached out as workers because you've lost your jobs, and you want to make sure that that you can afford to eat and pay your rent, and we're trying to take care of that as best we can. There are a lot of small business owners who are reaching out and who need assistance. There are homeowners who have rental properties, and you're also concerned. So meanwhile, we also have to make sure that we pay our police, and then we pay our fire department, and we make sure that we have essential services continuing to move forward too. So that isn't meant to be a complaint or a warning. It was more just to let you know what is going through our minds in City Council right now, is how do we balance that? How do we make sure that we are responsible as a city, and we can keep our essential services moving forward and operating while providing as many other services as we possibly can. So one other thing that people have talked about are construction. We've gotten a lot of emails and people reaching out from by email and other ways, who have been on both sides of the construction concern. So on the one side, people are saying, my husband or wife is in construction, and construction is moving forward despite this pandemic, and they're not using social distancing, and they don't have hand wash stations, and we're really concerned because we're afraid that our loved ones are going to get infected. And then also we have people who are saying there's construction happening in my building, and it's not essential, and it's really frustrating for me as a resident that people are coming into my building and they're kind of breaking our what am I trying to say? Our protected bubble, and so I can see that as a concern as well. On the other hand, pretty much every other industry is shut down in the city of Denver except for construction, and so on the other side we have people who are very concerned because this is a paycheck, whereas most other places there are no paychecks. And so how do we keep people from losing their homes? How do we keep people from being able to eat? And so that's some of the concerns that we're kind of weighing with, just as one example. So it looks like I've got just a few minutes left before 2:00. I do want to share with you one of my maybe former District 10 residents. I don't know. I should check on that. Shared with me a drawing of Porthos on City Council. As you may recall, when I campaigned, Porthos was the real star. He had porthosfordenver.com, and so he is Denver City Council's first council dog. I've heard a lot that Macs are easier to use. I guess Porthos agrees because he is using a Mac instead of a PC. Anyway, another thing that I talked about was reading a kid's book. So last week I read The Wump World by Bill Peet. I am going to read, I'm going to stop the recording and then start again. Actually, I have a 2:00 call. So I'm going to stop the recording, and then after this 2:00 call, which is about small business, by the way, I'm going to get back on and do a live stream, and I am going to read Click, Clack, Moo. And I'm going to try to do a different format than last time. Last time I used a PDF file, which didn't make a whole lot of sense. It made some sense because I guess you could read it. But I actually want to try reading it like this. You know, the way people, like human beings, actually read to their kids. So anyway, I hope you're well. I hope you're staying safe. Please do stay at home unless you need to get out for physical and mental health. And if you do that, please keep 6 feet away from everyone else. And other than that, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'm a little afraid because not a single person has made a single comment. So hopefully I'm doing this right. But at any rate, have a wonderful weekend. This is Chris Hinds, Denver City Council's District 10. Signing off for now, and then I'll have this conference call, and then after the call, I'll read Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type. See you soon.